children, you could lose your coverage. The bill rolls back the Medicaid expansion that helped millions of working adults get insured. Number two, parents with teenagers. If your youngest child is over the age of 14, you will be required to work or volunteer 20 hours a week to keep Medicaid. Miss that requirement even by a little, and you could lose coverage. Number three, people in certain states. Some states never expanded Medicaid. This bill locks those limits in, meaning millions of adults in places like Texas or Florida will have no affordable coverage options at all. Number four, disabled or chronically ill people. Even people with real health problems could lose coverage if they don't have the right paperwork or keep up with the constant re-verification. Red tape could cut them off, and that's because of all the fraud, waste, and abuse. Now, number five are young adults aging out. Teens who turn 18 or 19 may no longer qualify under the new rules. If they're part-time workers or students, they may not meet the new work requirements and could possibly lose access. And number six, rural Americans, they rely heavily on Medicaid to keep local hospitals open. These funding cuts could shut down some of those hospitals, leaving people with no nearby places to get health care. So even though there are benefits to the working American in the Big Beautiful Bill, there are those Medicaid cuts that can potentially put some type of hardship on Americans as well.
So they officially passed the Big Beautiful Bill, and it's now going to go into effect. But it's just really dumb to me because they're going to be cutting Medicaid and SNAP benefits. So what is the point of that? They're also cutting student aid and then cutting funding from public schools as well. But you know what they're going to do? They're going to take away the tax on gun silencers. They're going to lower the taxes on that because that's what matters. You know what I mean? It's just crazy that they called it a Big Beautiful Bill, when it quite literally is going to affect a lot of Americans in a negative way because they receive these benefits, they receive this government assistance because they need it and that's why they have it, and now all of that shit is being cut. Makes absolutely no sense at all, and it's being cut in order for rich people to get more rich, when the people who are on assistance because they need that. The rich people don't technically need that government assistance.
Yeah, Trump's bill that's about to pass the House is going to cut Medicaid, but I'm not on Medicaid, so why should I care? I would love to get on here and explain to you all the reasons why you should care about other people, low-income people losing their health insurance by Trump's Medicaid cuts. But you don't care. You don't care. I want you to care, but you don't care. What you care about is how Medicaid cuts would hurt you. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to explain to you how Medicaid being cut is going to be bad for you, a person who's not even on it. Okay? All right, stay with me. I'm going to go real slow. When uninsured people go to the hospital and they can't pay, but they go to the emergency room anyway because they're about to die for some reason, and they can't pay, hospitals and providers eat those costs. It's called uncompensated care. Those losses that the hospitals just ate and the providers ate are oftentimes passed on to privately insured patients by way of higher prices and higher insurance premiums. That's you! You see how we got to you? Do you see how you're in it now? So by covering low-income individuals through Medicaid, the same Medicaid that Trump is trying to cut, it lessens those uncompensated costs, which keeps your premiums down. You see that? This is about you. We don't even have to have a bleeding heart. We don't have to care about everybody else out there. We can just care about ourselves and still fight against these Medicaid cuts. And this is not just my opinion. The Kaiser Family Foundation did an entire study that showed that Medicaid expansion, expanding Medicaid in states, lowers hospitals' uncompensated care by 25 to 40%, depending on the state, which eases the financial pressure on the entire healthcare system. That's you. You're in that too. Medicaid is also just preventative. It being in your state prevents things that happen that would exhaust your healthcare system that you would have to pay for. Lutheran Services of America is a very good example of that. The people who get Medicaid through them get all this preventative care, and they get care coordination and in-home support, and it improves the health of the people who are on it, and it reduces their need for high-cost healthcare services, right? And so then those members remain healthy, and they end up participating members of the economies around them. Like, it's just a good thing to have in your state economically. So look, the Big Beautiful Bill that wants to cut this, Trump's bill that wants to cut this, has already passed the Senate. We're in the final hours. We have like a day. You have to call your representatives. You have to tell them not to make these cuts to Medicaid, right? That people need them, that even if you're not on them, that they help your local economies as well. Find whoever your representatives are at the federal level. Find your representative, email them, call them, do whatever you can. You literally have a day. I did it earlier today to tell them, urge them to vote against something that's not just going to hurt the people around you. It would hurt you, whether you're on Medicaid or not. Okay? All right.
Today, we're going to talk about Black Americans' reactions to DT's Big Beautiful Bill. DT's so-called Big Beautiful Bill has finally landed, and many Black Americans aren't holding back their reactions. Despite the bill being hyped up as a sweeping reform aimed at reviving the economy and cutting waste, its fine print paints a different picture, one that disproportionately affects working class and marginalized communities, especially minority groups. Across social media, frustration and disappointment are growing, and many feel like this bill is yet another slap in the face masked in political fluff. Before we proceed, all credit goes to the creators of these videos. Let's watch a few more reactions and I'll come back with my final commentary.
Never use mental health care and never plan on using mental health care and don't know anyone who's ever used or benefited from substance use treatment, never lived in a rural area, never needed a hospital one, have never visited an emergency room and don't plan on ever needing one. And if you don't know any children, elders, or disabled individuals, then by all means, keep on scrolling. But if any of that sounds even remotely familiar, then we need to talk about this bill because it affects all of us. What I'm seeing right now is a crisis. This is not a policy debate. This is a public health emergency. Over 60 million people could lose care, and no community, urban, rural, anyone is safe from the fallout. When it comes to this bill, it's more than numbers. It's the dismantling of care. 72 million Americans rely on Medicaid. It covers 40% of all births, most nursing home stays, and nearly all of addiction treatment, and now it is being gutted. According to the Congressional Budget Office, nearly 12 million people will lose coverage, most of them losing Medicaid. And I want to talk about the ripple effects because this touches everyone and you may not understand it. Let's go down to categories. Mental health care. Medicaid is the #1 payer of mental health services. When the funding drops, waitlists will grow, providers will vanish. Substance use treatment. 40% of all substance use care is Medicaid funded. These cuts mean fewer detox beds, closed rehab centers, and more overdose. Rural hospitals, they're already struggling, and 300 plus rural hospitals could shut down entirely. This means pregnant women driving 40 plus miles to give birth and patients dying before ambulances even reach them. Emergency rooms without coverage, people will wait until crisis hits. That overcrowds ERs, increases costs, and delays life-saving care. Children, elders, and disabled individuals. According to congressional testimony, this bill endangers children who are already food insecure, disabled individuals who rely on in-home care, and seniors in nursing homes. Over 37 million children get health coverage from Medicaid or CHIP. The cuts will force many of them off insurance altogether. The bill also slashes SNAP, which is food assistance for 5 million families. ACA subsidies are being slashed, so millions of working class people will see their premiums spike by 75%. This is more than cuts. It is a coordinated rollback. So let's be coordinated in our action. What can you do? Call Congress. Use credible resources like Mental Health America, who has a call script, and find out how to protect care in your state. And share this video, people. Let's be clear. If you hate children or elders or people with disability or folks living in rural communities or historically excluded groups or anyone who gives birth, then by all means do nothing. But if you don't hate them, you need to call your representative.
At the core of
So in this video, we are literally seeing the big beautiful bill has already been passed, and literally the repercussions are going to be felt. So it's going to affect people who are dealing with mental issues, senior elderly who are in the nursing homes, and of course you're also being told the rural hospitals they were already struggling. Right now they'll be struggling because majority of those hospitals are going to be shut down. So people will be forced, who are living the rural areas, to travel very far, like 40 miles, just to get the hospital that is nearer to them. So imagine a woman who's pregnant is living in the rural home, and then all of a sudden she wants to give birth. She'll be forced to travel for a long distance before they can reach the hospital. Why? Because the hospital nearby have been shut down as a result of this big beautiful bill that has been passed the other day in America. So literally the repercussions are going to be felt by so many people. And remember, the majority of these people who are literally going to be affected are people who are depending on 9-to-5 jobs, paycheck to, who are living paycheck to paycheck. So mostly from the lower middle class, lower class, and of course the middle class itself. Although the middle class themselves, they can literally try to sort themselves here and there, but the ones who will be mostly affected because they have no alternative because they're struggling. Because they're living paycheck to paycheck, and mostly people who are in the lower middle class and the lower class in America, and of course the ones who are homeless. So this big beautiful bill, as much as the government is insisting they want to do budget cuts, but at the end of the day, the common person who literally depend on this assistance from the government to be able to afford their daily activities, to be able to afford healthcare, to be able to afford, to eat, sleep, and of course having a roof on their head, they're going to be affected in a big way. Very soon you'll be hearing situations where families will be telling you, oh, by the way, we have to decide whether we're going to pay this bill or we'll be able to pay this insurance, because we have to choose the alternative of the two. Which one is more priority and which one we can forego, because at the end of the day, we don't have the extra dollar to pay these bills. That's what's going to happen in America, because already right now you're seeing so many Americans saying right now they're struggling just to survive. The American dream is not even near their radar, because they're struggling. They're living paycheck to paycheck. They have like 3-4 jobs, but at the end of the day they can barely survive because all that money is going to pay bills. So right now, look at this issue now, this big beautiful bill now being added to the whole scenario where someone's trying to pay the bills. So if you're being told, oh, by the way, your Medicaid has been cut down, that is your insurance, so now you have been forced to cough an extra dollar or some $100 just to be able to afford extra features in your health insurance. Now imagine that, and then this is somebody who's barely able to pay their bills. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for so many people in America. So what's going to happen in future, only time will tell. Is this big beautiful bill a good thing for the citizens of America or not? Only time will tell. But at the end of the day, remember, this current administration, they did say that they want to do budget cuts, and this is one area where they're doing those budget cuts. So are American people happy about it? Only time will tell. Let me know what you think about this video. Drop your comments and please subscribe to my channel.